Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Leo,
Here.
Commissioner Oliva, Commissioner Pham,
Here.
Commissioner Wu,
Here.
Vice Chair Benninger, Chair Ramos,
Present.
Chair, quorum has been reached at 5:35 p.m.
Thank you. We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic. Before we begin, I would like to remind my fellow commissioners to turn your microphones on when speaking and off when not speaking. And when speaking, please place the microphone about 4 inches away from you. Thank you. Members of the public may attend Planning Commission meeting in person or virtually via Zoom. I now invite the Commission Secretary to describe the way the public can access and participate in this meeting.
This meeting is being live streamed via our portal at www.santa-ana.primegov.com/public/portal and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/City of Santa Ana videos. If you would like to provide public comment, you may do so in the following ways. Join the meeting via Zoom, enter the meeting ID number 812892545352. When the item you wish to comment on is being discussed, please select the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. Once called upon, remember to unmute yourself and state your name for the record. You can also join the meeting by calling 669-900-6833. Enter meeting ID number 812-89254-352. When the item that you would like to comment on is being discussed, press 9 to let us know you would like to speak. You will be called upon by the last 3 digits of your phone number. After you are called upon, you may press 6 to unmute yourself. For those of you who are attending this meeting in person and would like to provide public comment, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the recording secretary. All speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. I will alert you when your time is up.
Thank you. Moving on to public comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items. Secretary, does anyone wish to speak?
If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it in to the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please select the hand icon to let us know you would like to comment. If you are calling in and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Thank you. For the record, I'd like to state that Commissioner Escamilla joined us at 5:38. We're now going to move on to the consent calendar. There's one motion for all consent items unless an item is pulled for separate discussion. Is there a motion to approve item A, minutes from September 22nd, 2025, and item B, excused absences?
I move item A and B.
Thank you. We have a motion from Commissioner Wu. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a second from Commissioner Escamilla. Secretary, can you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Escamilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Leo,
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva, Commissioner Pham,
Aye.
Commissioner Wu,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benninger, Chair Ramos.
Aye.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Oliva and Vice Chair Benninger absent.
Thank you. We're now moving on to the business calendar, and that includes public hearings. I will review the process for the public hearing so that everyone knows what to expect. Staff will provide a presentation and answer questions from the commission. The public hearing will be opened. The applicant will be given the opportunity to speak, limited to 15 minutes. Members of the public will be given the opportunity to comment, limited to 3 minutes. The applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to comments made by the public, limited to 5 minutes. The public hearing will be closed. Discussion will return to the commission with formal action taken to approve, deny, or continue review of the application. Please consider the following suggestions when organizing your comments. You may state your name and address, strictly voluntary. State whether you support, oppose, or are neutral to the proposal. Your statement should include all pertinent facts within your knowledge. Please note, discussion on these matters are final unless appealed within 10 days by any interested individual or party. Recommendations on these matters will be forwarded to the City Council at a later date for final determination. Item 1. This is the time and place for conditional use permit numbers 2025-18 and 2025-19 for the property located at 113 East 4th Street, located within the Transit Zoning Code, SC 84 zoning district. Before we begin, do any commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with regard to this item? Seeing no disclosures, Case Planner Byron Luke, can you please provide the brief presentation? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Chair and Planning Commission. Our first item on tonight's public hearing agenda are conditional use permits, or CUP, numbers 2025-18 and 2025-19 for the project located at 113 East 4th Street. The application is a request for approval to allow the sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption through a Type 41 license from the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control and for the after-hours operation of an eating establishment. Staff's recommendation is to adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2025-18 for the sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption as conditioned, and adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2025-19 for after-hours operation as conditioned. The site's land use designation is District Center Medium High, which allows a mix of uses including retail and commercial spaces, and the site is located within the downtown zone of the Transit Zoning Code, also known as Specific Development 84 or SD 84. There are commercial and multifamily developments to the north, mixed-use developments, and a city-owned parking structure to the east, and commercial to the south and to the west. The site itself is approximately 1.43 acres, while the unit size is approximately 3,093 square feet with a 956 square foot outdoor patio. Here on the image on the right, we see the site highlighted or boxed in red. The site is located in the Rafferty, a mixed-use development project that was completed in 2024, and in April 2025, building permits were issued to convert the existing space into an eating establishment. This included a kitchen, service counter, dining area, salad bar, preparation and storage areas, a walk-in cooler, and restrooms. In August 8th of 2025, the applicant submitted CUP applications to allow the operation of a Type 41 license for the sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption and after-hours operation. The proposed eating establishment will be Tacos Los Cholos' fifth location, with 4 established locations in Anaheim, Huntington Park, Fullerton, and Huntington Beach. The eating establishment is proposing to occupy a 3,093 square foot tenant space located on the first floor of the Rafferty building at the corner of 4th and Bush Streets. A fenced outdoor patio, 956 square feet in size, is provided along the southern elevation. Tacos Los Cholos is known for their street-style Mexican food, as well as a variety of different aguas frescas. Their proposed hours of operations will be as follows: Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. midnight, Friday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Staff has recommended the following hours of operation for the outdoor dining patio area as a condition: Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. The site photos are located here, with the photo on the left showing the southern elevation and the fenced outdoor dining area facing 4th Street, and all of the entranceways are on the southern elevation as shown. The photo on the right shows the eastern elevation facing Bush Street. On the site plan, we can see the interior unit highlighted in purple here on the site plan, and the outdoor dining area is highlighted in yellow. On this floor plan, we can see the layout of the unit, and we can see the alcoholic storage areas highlighted in red, totaling a total of 76 square feet. And And on the elevations, the top image shows the southern elevation facing 4th Street. And the bottom elevation is the eastern elevation facing Bush Street. And on both of these, we can see the outdoor dining areas. Conditional use permit requests, including alcoholic beverage licenses and after hours, are governed by the Santa Ana Municipal Code, Section 41-638, and may be granted by the Planning Commission when it can be demonstrated that the proposed project will not adversely impact the community. The proposed alcohol sales and after-hours operation would be complementary to the mixed-use and high-intensity environment within Santa Ana's downtown area. And additionally, the subject unit is located within the Rafferty mixed-use community, which was entitled to provide a highly amenitized community with a live, work, and play environment. The site's location, set back from 4th Street, minimizes the possibilities of concerns typically associated with after-hours operations. And the after-hours operations will allow the establishment to compete with nearby eating establishments in the downtown and allow the applicant to serve customers who wish to dine later in the evening. The recommended conditions of approval will limit the operational hours of the outdoor dining area to reduce noise impacts to residents of the Rafferty. Staff is also recommending conditions of approval requiring licensed security personnel, enhanced exterior lighting, security cameras, closing procedures, and appropriate signage. The operational standards applicable to an ABC license and conditions of approval, such as a good neighbor policy and property maintenance agreement, will address any potential impacts and will ensure that the use will not negatively affect the surrounding community. The police department has reviewed this request and has no concerns, as the operational standards applicable to an ABC license and the proposed conditions of approval will mitigate any potential impacts. The granting of the CUPs as conditioned will not negatively affect any sensitive land uses. Approval of the requested CUPs are consistent with the general plan land use designation of District Center Medium High, as a diverse mix of land uses, including commercial and retail, are supported. The project aligns with Land Use Element Goal LU2 and policies, which aim to provide a balanced mix of land uses that meet the city's diverse needs, capture local spending, encourage reinvestment into the city, and promote the city's image as a significant business-friendly regional activity center. Goal LU4 and policy also apply, which support improvements to the built environment and the promotion of complete neighborhoods by encouraging a mix of complementary uses, community services, and people places. Additionally, the project aligns with the economic prosperity element, which seeks to improve the city's image through the creation of vibrant and engaging public spaces. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act and the CEQA guidelines, the project is categorically exempt from further review per Section 15301, Class 1 existing facilities. And based on this analysis, a notice of exemption environmental review number 2025-80 will be filed for this project. And there is no fiscal impact associated with this action. With that, staff's recommendation is to adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2025-18 for the sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption as conditioned, and to adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2025-19 for after-hours operation as conditioned. And with that, that concludes staff's presentation. Staff is here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does the commission have any comments or questions for staff? Commissioner Wu?
What is the ordinance governing outdoor patio and service? And does it differ from areas like the downtown area to residential area to other business districts?
Thank you, Commissioner Wu, for that question. The outdoor dining area for this development was developed as part of the mixed-use development for Rafferty, which would not.
Here's my concern.
Yes.
The Taco Los Cholos is a very popular eating establishment. The one in Anaheim is very full and people spill out into the streets, but there's no other on the same block There's not another taco place on the block. In downtown Santa Ana, I don't know how many they are. It's more than 10, including the street ones. And I know that there's an outdoor patio in front of 4th Street Market with a narrow walking through there, but it nevertheless exists there, and several other establishments have outdoor patios that are fixed. This particular one is being proposed on the corner there, because it's on the corner lot, right? I'm wondering if there's enough walking space for that, because it's on the corner, for people to, as they're trying to cross the street there, because the Rafferty is a residential area apartment with kids living there as well, going to school and stuff. And I may be incorrect, but that may not be the main entrance to the Rafferty, or the exit as well. So I'm just hoping that you alleviate my fear. There might be some concern there for safety of the kids living in the apartments.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Wu. If we refer back to Exhibit 5 of the agenda packet, we can see that the unit and the outdoor dining area are set back from 4th Street. So there is a lot of space between,
Sorry, can we get Exhibit 5 on the screen?
oh, yes.
Thank you.
And how much of a clearance from the fence of the patio to the sidewalk, to the street?
Commissioner Wu, it's not depicted on the plan, but looking at the scale, it looks like it's roughly over 20 feet between where the fence would be
Okay.
and the property line that then would have additional space for pedestrians on the public right-of-way.
Okay, I just want to do our due diligence, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Do we have any other questions or comments? Commissioner Escamilla.
Yeah, just wondering, so some of the emails that we received were around the noise concerns, which maybe actually might even just be from the internal noise concerns. So I'm wondering if there, at least during your review, were there already elements included within the architectural design of kind of the roofing area to insulate ground floor level from that first residential level, where I imagine even the internal sounds will probably carry the most? Was that taken into consideration as we were doing the review on the noise impacts?
So I can't speak to specific architectural details, but the first floor is built out of concrete, which has the most amount of sound attenuation, and that would encapsulate some of the sound generated on the commercial space.
Okay, perfect. And then as far as the requirements on the security, I presume that's also then with the instruction to keep the outside area clear, and I guess a certain, is there a certain decimal or decibel regulation when it comes to like what the security guards should be looking for? Or is it just generally to kind of keep the area clear during those after hours? And I presume after hours start from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock for the patio?
So as conditioned, the licensed security guards would be present between the hours of 12 and 1. They're not looking necessarily for a specific decibel, but just general safety and maintenance of the area.
Okay, and I guess that would just be then the other consideration again, because it seems like the only time when you might just have people out there, even if the patio is closed, would be that 10 to 1 hour. So I'm not sure if the applicant would be okay just with that shift kind of overlapping, at least during the trial run for the first 6 months, just to kind of make sure that people get used not to hang out there after 10 o'clock, as I imagine, if I hadn't known and wasn't aware of the 10 o'clock closure, I would probably be hanging out there after 10 o'clock on a regular basis. So I think for the, general public, just letting them know that, there should be someone on staff to just let them know that it's closed, or even if it's just the, the servers or whoever else is there. Again, just so that it gets communicated out and we don't have assembly outside after that 10 p.m. Deadline.
Yes, we can go ahead and modify that condition.
Are there any other questions or comments for staff from the commission? I have a question. How do the patio hours for Los Cholos, how do they compare to other to the hours that other restaurants have with patios? So thinking of Perlas, Indio, or else there's a patio outside of Element on the east end. So just wondering what the hours are for the other establishments in the downtown area.
Sure. So for Element, they were conditioned to have their outdoor patio restricted from 7 a.m. to 12 midnight. However, their current hours of operation actually close earlier than that, so that hasn't taken into effect. So for example, on Friday and Saturday, they close at 11 p.m., so the restriction of 12 o'clock midnight doesn't, they're more restrictive than the condition that's been imposed upon them. And then with Indio, they do have an outdoor seating area within their own site, but not in the public right-of-way. There's an outdoor parklet, which doesn't have seating. And they are conditioned to have no outdoor restaurant activity after 12 a.m. midnight. However, we also took a look at Santa Ana Brewing, which is a brew pub in SD 84. And they were conditioned to have their outdoor dining area limited Sunday to Thursday from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Thank you. And then for Perlas, what are the hours there?
Perlas, they did not have any conditioned hours of operation for the.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted us to be aware of what the hours are for other establishments and then see if we want to consider anything different for this one. Are there any additional questions or comments for staff from the commission at this time?
So when Cito closed up the street and had a big stage there, they had to pull a permit, right?
That's correct, Commissioner. Any closure of a public street would require a permit from our Public Works Agency and Parks for a special event.
So if they have a special event for this, it would be subject to looking at the street, whether block significant traffic and all that, right?
So
Which is like, I guess, the applicant is accepting the 10 o'clock thing on the weekend. That's when Santa Ana has the downtown walk, right? They restrict themselves to 10 or accepting what staff recommendation.
So any special event on a public right-of-way, they would have to get a special event permit and have clearance through Public Works, Parks, and PD would also review. Anything on private property would require a land use certificate that would be reviewed by the planning department.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Commissioner Pham, did you have a question or comment? Great. With that, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Would the applicant like to speak on the matter?
Is the applicant currently on Zoom? If you are, if you can please raise your hand. If you can please unmute yourself, you will have 15 minutes to speak.
Good afternoon, members of Planning Commission. My name is Alexa. I'm the representative of Taco Los Cholos. The proposed project, Taco Los Cholos, California, aims to establish a fast casual Mexican restaurant offering authentic street-style tacos, grilling meals, and traditional side dishes that we operate 7 days a week. As part of this project, the restaurant's type 41 ABC license to serve beer and wine is a part of this project. The restaurant seeks conjunction with meals. This use will be contribute positive to the general well-being of the conjunction with meals. The service of beer and wine will be responsibly managed and operate in the street complies with the all applicant laws and condition of Type 41 license. The proposed use will comply with all relevant municipal regulations, zoning requirements, and operation standards. This includes adherence to noises limitations, hours of operation, and design criteria, as well as any condition imposed by the City of California Department of Alcohol Beverage Control. The restaurant is committed to being in responsibly and respectful neighborhood. The project will be the goals of city general plan and any applicant specific plans by activity, commercial frontage, improving pedestrian experience and contributions to more dynamic and diverse local economic. It promotes, supports a small business development and the character of the area through design and high quality service. If you have any questions for us, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the commission have any comments or questions of the applicant? There are no comments or questions from the applicant at this time. Recording Secretary, have we received any written communication, or is there a member of the public that would like to comment on this item?
Chair, we have received a total of 1 email in the form of public comments for this item before the 3:30 p.m. deadline, which has been distributed to the commission and posted online. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Thank you. I actually have a question for the applicant regarding the hours of for the outdoor patio. Were there any considerations or requests that you wanted to make of the commission after hearing the hours for some of the other businesses in the downtown area?
Yes, we can limit the hours, like, I don't know, it's up to you guys, because we don't have problem to close the outdoor patio when you say earlier.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the commission before I close the public hearing for the applicant? Thank you. With that, the public hearing is now closed. Are there any additional questions from the commission for staff or anything you all would like to bring up for commission discussion before we take a motion on this matter?
Chair, just want to clarify, I wasn't 100% clear what the applicant committed to.
So I asked the applicant if there were any other considerations or requests they wanted to make of us as a commission after hearing the outdoor patio hours of other establishments. And what I understood is that they said no, and that they would abide by the hours stated.
Okay, so nothing changed.
Yes, so there were no requests made and no changes requested of them from me either.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Would anyone like to make a motion on this matter if there's no discussion?
Yep, ready to make a motion to approve as staff recommends.
A second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Commissioner Escamilla and a second from Commissioner Wu. Secretary, can you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Escamilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Leo,
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva, Commissioner Pham,
Aye.
Commissioner Wu,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benninger, Chair Ramos.
Aye.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Oliva and Vice Chair Benninger absent.
Thank you. Moving on to item 2. This is the time and place for tentative track map number 2025-07 for the property located at 501 South Harbor Boulevard, located within the Harbor Mixed-Use Transit Corridor, specific plan SP2 zoning district. Before we begin, do any commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with regard to this item? Seeing no disclosures, case planner Fernanda Arias Hernandez, can you please provide a brief presentation?
Thank you. Let me just share the screen. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for queuing this item. Up for discussion, we have tentative track map number 2025-7. It's located at 501 South Harbor Boulevard, 3706 and 3712 West Camille Street, and Council Ward Number 1. The applicant is requesting approval of a tentative track map for condominium purposes to allow the subdivision of a proposed 30-unit townhome development. Staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopts a resolution approving tentative track map number 2025-7 as condition. The subject properties are located within the Harbor Mixed-Use Transit Corridor specific plan, also known as SB2, in the corridor subzone. Additionally, the properties have a general plan land use designation of urban neighborhood medium high, or UN50. The site is surrounded by auto sales and multifamily residential to the north, multifamily residential to the east, and commercial auto sales to the south, and then auto sales and a mobile home park to the west. The lot size is 57,934 square feet, or 1.33 acres. The existing site is developed with office buildings that are used for auto sales. City records indicate that the site was previously occupied by service stations, auto repair businesses, and auto sale businesses. As previously mentioned, the existing construction serves as office for auto sales. The Harbor Mixed-Use Transit Corridor specific plan was adopted by City Council in October of 2014, which allowed a great amount of residential, commercial, and mixed-use projects in the specific plan area. On February 21st of 2024, the applicant submitted a development application that was deemed complete on August 28, 2025. The slide illustrates how the existing site appears today. This point of view is from the corner of Camille Street and Harbor Boulevard. This slide illustrates the tentative track map showing the 30 townhomes. In order to comply with the city's Affordable Housing Opportunity and Creation Ordinance, also known as AHOCO, the applicant will be providing 2 affordable units at the moderate level income. This site plan illustrates in red the location of the units that are proposed to be affordable. Plan A, closer to Harbor Boulevard, is 1,947 square feet and has 3 bedrooms. And Plan C, that's located at the east or rear of the site, is 2,573 square feet and also has 3 bedrooms. This is the landscape plan, which illustrates 3 species listed on the city's designated tree species. However, the resolution includes a condition of approval, which will help the applicant meet and make sure that all the plants that are part of the city's designated tree list. The planting plan illustrates the trees that will be planted, and again, staff will work with the applicant to make sure that all the trees that are planted are part of the designated trees. The project before you is not requesting density bonus units, concession, nor waivers. Additionally, the project does not require approval of a site plan application because the proposed building doesn't exceed 3 stories, and it's allowed by right in the Harbor Mixed-Use Transit Corridor. The project before you is requesting approval of a tentative track map, number 2025-7, governed by Chapter 34 of the Santa Ana Municipal Code and the State Subdivision Map Act. Application number 2025-707 has been found to be consistent with the Subdivision Map Act and Chapter 34 of the Santa Ana Municipal Code. Staff is recommending conditions of approval for the tentative track map to proactively address any neighborhood parking impacts that will result from the project. Additionally, other conditions of approval have been included to ensure that the project's landscape architecture and covenants, conditions, and restrictions, or also known as CCNRs, continue to be in compliance with the Santa Ana Municipal Code and SP2. As part of the project, the applicant prepare a Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental assessments to identify any potential hazardous substance in the soil. And based on the results of the assessments, no additional assessment, mitigation, or remediation at the site will be necessary. Approval of the requested track map is consistent with the general plan land use designation of urban neighborhood medium high, with goal LU number 1 for growing responsibly, which seeks to have compatible spaces, homeownership opportunities, and diverse housing types. Also, goal land use number 4 for complete communities, supporting sustainable Santa Ana through improvements to the built environment and culture of collaboration. And goal of the housing element number 2 for housing supply and diversity. Pursuant to the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act, an environmental impact report was prepared and certified in 2014 in order to address the potential environmental impacts of the Harbor Mixed-Use Transit Corridor Plan. A mitigation, monitoring, and reporting program, MMRP, finding of fact, and a statement of overriding consideration were adopted with the 2014 EIR. As proposed, the development is not anticipated to have additional environmental impacts not addressed in the 2014 EIR. Furthermore, in accordance with CEQA, the recommended action is exempt from further review under Section 15195, residential infill exemption, as this project meets all the threshold criteria set forth in Section 15192. And there is no fiscal impact associated with the action. As such, staff is recommending adoption of a resolution approving tentative track map number 2025-07 as condition. And at this time, I'm available for any questions or comments.
Thank you. Does the commission have any comments or questions for staff? Commissioner Escamilla?
Yeah, so I guess my questions are actually just around the overall site layout. So just because it seems like there's a relatively large amount of, oh my gosh, internal roadway as compared to actual like building site. So number one, is the reason why there's not like an accessible, oh my gosh, drive aisle closer to harbors because of the distance requirement for the driveway, so that it has to be kind of closer to the internal block rather than closer to harbor, and that we only allow essentially kind of one entryway from that street side?
Are you referring to a drive aisle or
Well,
like
both the
ADA
drive,
path?
I guess the, oh my gosh, sorry. Say that again, I didn't quite.
Oh, I was asking if you're referring to the drive aisle or ADA pathway.
No, the actual drive aisle. So if we go to the site map, I guess
Sorry about the technical difficulty.
Totally cool. Yeah, no, just because this lot's just a little irregular in the sense that it has like potential entryways from like two alleyways and like a roadway to the north. So for me, when I see this, I just kind of see that middle area as being like, well, okay, that's a lot of roadway space in the middle. There could be units there. Why can't we just access, both? Obviously, you probably want like just one trip from a garbage delivery guy, but even if they can access the alley, and this might be maybe more for the architect and the designer, but as far as just the overall utilization of space, was there anything in our code that basically added some aisles rather than kind of enabling them to have a more flexible internal circulation pattern? That's really what I'm trying to get at, is just, hey, whenever we have these kind of urban infill designs, like what can we do to make it easier to actually build rather than just to do the rather than only kind of have a more roadway than actual building space. That, I guess that's what I'm trying to grapple with, and seeing if there were any specific issues that led to the kind of interior roadway configuration as we see it today.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. So the reason it was designed this way was to make sure that the trash vehicle can get through and also fire. But also it does meet the aisle requirement for two-way driveway. It has to be 23 feet apart, and that's why it was designed this way. It was the best possible outcome for them to maximize density while also meeting safety on-site circulation.
I could just add to that, Commissioner Escamilla, in the Harbor Mixed Use Transit Corridor specific plan, there's also setback maximums. So the buildings could only be a certain distance away from the property lines. So that would preclude the addition of drive aisles along the street and forces the buildings closer to those streets. So it does force the interior circulation to the inward of the site.
Yeah, and I guess for me, it is like understanding those various like criteria and kind of prioritizing versus non-prioritizing. And for me, it's like that 23 foot, like we have to have a road in between your units still always feels a little bit weird to me as a base standard. Just because for most usage, it's going to be one car passing the other. It might be a little tight, but I guess that's my general concern is like if we constantly design even our urban infill with the suburban like roadway network internally, like that's what always kind of feels a little bit off to me. But I totally understand that this is obviously the best engineered solution, but if there are ever any requirements that we impose specifically within our own building safety and public works department, like what is it that we have flexibility on to make it easier to, again, more units, better utilization of space, and less kind of these public dead spaces where it's literally, it'll just be a car or someone parked or just empty space for the majority of its life from however long this development stays there for, which I presume will be 80 to 100 years. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. Commissioner Leo.
Let me add on to Commissioner Escamilla. I have grappled with projects like this on Harbor every time they come here, because we do have wider roads inside because we mandate where the trash is. I understand the fire department, that's a safety thing, but the trash, we have conversations about the trash because we don't want them to pick up trash on Harbor. But if it's an urban infill, and if you go to any other urban areas, the trash pickup is right on the street. They pick it up and they keep going down the main artery. We've designed it to where you guys have to adjust to allow 2 cars plus the fire department to get in there. And I think that's what Commissioner Escamilla is struggling with, is like, we got all the space, and yet we limit the number of units because we're not accommodating the trash flow. And I think that's something we're gonna have to look at larger, like as our streets become more urban, how we do it is gonna be something we're gonna have to grapple with, because we can't continue to accommodate trash pickup when people are demanding more housing and more affordable housing. So I think, I understand where you're coming from, and I'm in complete agreement. We're gonna have to reevaluate that issue at some point.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Leo. Commissioner Wu?
Commissioner Manny raised a very interesting issue. If we look at what the previous Planning Commission and City Council have approved for townhomes throughout the city, over time, such configuration where there's less mobility or circulation within the inside, the property deteriorates very fast. So I don't know what the solution is and whether the developer can accommodate us, but I find myself agreeing with him.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Commissioner Pham?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. For this specific project, is there a specific reason why there are improvements, landscape improvements on the public right-of-way? Because up along Harbor, it's pretty much sidewalks from curb to property line, but it looks like this project is proposing a landscaping strip, then sidewalk, and then the internal landscaping of the project. I'm just wondering if there was a specific reasoning or a project-specific reasoning for it.
Thank you for your question. There's no specific reason. This is what the applicant submitted. Maybe it was through the Public Works requirements to plant trees on the parkway.
Well, the reason I ask is I would encourage more projects to do something similar, just because up and down Harbor, it gets pretty barren because there's so much concrete, right? Obviously, we'll still need to retain adequate sidewalk width, but my preference is for projects like this and similar projects down the road is that not only do we landscape the front yard, but also, ask the applicant to landscape the right-of-way as well, just so that there's not such a barren concrete block in front. And then this might be a question for the applicant, but I don't see notation for fencing around the perimeter of the site. It looks to me like accessible public space that are accessed via the sidewalk. And I'm not sure if it's just something that hasn't been addressed or if it would be addressed, because other projects have fenced their common space.
Yes, thank you. So as part of the resolution, we did add a condition that they install a minimum 6-foot tall solid perimeter wall around the property. And it's my understanding that there will be fences along Harbor and some Camille units around that private open space. It's kind of noted in gray here under the trees. You can see it along Harbor. There will be fences surrounding that area.
Okay. And then moving along the fencing idea, I'm concerned about the alleyway off of Harbor. I'm imagining concrete block wall, that's it, that is completely up along the alleyway, which, the adjacent commercial property isn't utilized very much as well. I'm afraid that now that we have a very dark alleyway, that potentially becomes a safety concern down the road, especially with the existing condition on site right now. Is there ways to address that?
We have some conditions regarding the CCNRs. And we can possibly add something about lighting. We can add a condition stating that the applicant should submit a lighting plan and making sure that, it's properly lit.
I think that's appropriate. And then going back to the trash enclosure conversation, will it be, is the trash enclosure just like auxiliary trash pickup location? Will the trash truck pick up per unit? Because it seems like it's very far away from the farthest unit on site. And I can imagine after dinner, you're gonna take out your trash, you're crossing across the entire site to put your trash into the bins.
They have, I believe they have 2 trash enclosures.
I just see one at the
Actually,
entrance
yeah,
to the
there's
site.
just one by the open space. They do have, in blue, you'll see the path of travel for the trash enclosure. And that's what's available. But did you want to add? I don't know that it would be possible to add another trash enclosure just because of site constraints in terms of the size.
Right. It just seems odd to me in terms of site planning to have the trash. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that meets the minimum requirement, but in terms of practical usage, it seems a bit of a walk for the residents. And then lastly, I know this is terminology, but are these condos or are these townhouses? Because we're tentatively splitting all these units into individual for sale units, but one unit caught my eye where the garage is double park, and then the unit's stairs are on top of another unit. Typically when we see townhomes, they share a party wall and it's completely vertical separation, but it seems to me like one unit is overlapping on top of another unit. And so are these condos or are these townhomes?
Thank you, Commissioner. We understand condominium to be ownership type, not development type. So when we say ownership or condominiums, we're referring to ownership. These are going to be subdivided for air rights to be sold to individual property owners. So I'm a little confused about the question because I don't see condo as like a building type. But so we understand this to be a townhouse development, which are attached units or 3 or more, consistent with what we've seen on Harbor. So I would say that this is a townhouse development.
Yeah, I guess I was asking for clarification just because agreed that the unit with the double park, they own the land in which their unit is situated on the bottom floor. But as you go up to the second floor, their second floor encroaches onto the adjacent unit. So I was just wondering how the legality of that works. That's all, yeah.
Thank you.
That's all for me, Chair.
Thank you. I also have some questions for staff. So first, I want to say thank you for encouraging the use of, or the selection of trees from the city designated tree list. I know that's something we typically have to comment on, so thank you for being proactive on that. And I think Commissioner Scamilla actually helped develop that list when he was on the Environmental Transportation Advisory Committee. So I'm glad to see that that's becoming more of the norm, that we're proactively seeing the reference to that list. So thank you. And then I also want to uplift some of the questions or comments that were provided by the public via their letters that they sent in for public comment. And I know when I did my agenda review with staff, I also asked about any potential need for soil remediation at this property. So I noticed that in the presentation, there was mention of a phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessment that stated no remediation was necessary. But exactly what does that mean? What is a phase 1 or phase 2 environmental assessment? And how sure can the community be of the safety of the soil that is there?
Thank you. So when, normally when a property owner wants to sell or buy a new land, but there's been auto repair or service station, they'll do something called the environmental assessment, and they do a phase 1. If the phase 1 says you need additional surveying, then they do a phase 2. So in this case, the environmental, I imagine they hired someone, but they're professionals that go out and survey. So they dig and they test the soil. And so those assessments are based off of a surveyor who does this for a living, and they're professionals, and they prepare a report. So based on that report and the findings, that's where, based on that information, we found that no additional remediation was required.
Thank you. And are the reports from those assessments publicly available?
They were not made part of the exhibits of the project, but if we want to include them as part of the public, I think it would be okay, because the applicant did provide that as part of the application, so we can provide it.
Thank you. Yes, I would like to request that they be added to the public record. Thank you for that. And then I also have just a question on the purview of the commission tonight when reviewing this item. So I understand that the recommendation being made by staff is to approve the tentative track map. I noticed one of the public comments we received was regarding the affordability level of the 2 affordable housing units provided, and a desire from that organization to request that those units be provided at deeper affordability. To what extent can this commission make that level of request at this time?
Thank you, Chair Ramos. So the item before the commission tonight is strictly the subdivision. This project has met all development standards as well as the AHOCO. So a question as far as the affordability level is not before the commission. So any of the requests or comments or questions or deviations from what staff is recommending would have to be strictly related to the map, nothing else.
Thank you for that clarification. So any request to look at the level of affordability would have to go to the city council, correct?
That's correct. That would be a policy decision. This meets the city's standard. So if the standard is not to the suitability of the community, that would be something that would have to be looked at as part of an update to the AHOCO itself.
Okay, thank you for that. And then my last question, I wanted to uplift a question that I believe was raised by Commissioner Pham. So in what seemed like also praise for the selection of trees, but also just the improvement of trees along the public way. I would also like more information on exactly, or how we got that to be a part of this project. And we maybe haven't seen it as part of all other projects. So I know it was said that there may be a question for Public Works. And I don't know if Public Works staff is here and able to provide additional information on that.
Madam Chair, we do have a representative from Public Works Agency today who might be able to speak on that. But I think this specifically tonight might just be a matter of how the plans are represented. Conceptual plans are showing the public right-of-way improvements, the trees. In most cases, as part of the development review process, our Public Works Agency does identify whether there's a need to either replace trees or add new trees per whatever sort of policy documents they have. So while often they're not represented in the conceptual plans, they are included as part of the plan sets. They get reviewed during building plan check. That's my understanding. I don't know if our representative wanted to kind of address that or not.
Thank you for that clarification. And I'd say if that is the case, it'd be great to have all trees visible on future graphics for us to review, or future renderings.
Okay, good evening, planning commissioners. Of course, you would ask that because the track map I have does not show the trees. And I don't have the other documentation with me. So I apologize that I don't have I don't have any additional information to add to what was stated by our planning experts.
Thank you.
I can add to what Monica was sharing. So as part of the DP application, the documents I'm looking at does show that the addition of a parkway and trees along Harbor and Camille were part of the Public Works Agency's requirements as part of this DP application.
Great, thank you for that information. Are there any other questions or comments for staff from the commission? Go ahead, Commissioner Escamilla.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to, again, reemphasize Commissioner Pham's observation on the additional information needed for the fencing and now that we know it's a 6-foot CMU block wall. And I guess this will go out to the applicant. If there is any way to kind of landscape that other side of it, just from a graffiti protection standpoint, it's going to save you all probably some money, just like adding that to the other side, because it will get tagged up. So just so that it's something that we just kind of think about initially. I do see this particular alley as maybe potential for an abandonment in the future. I'm not sure like exactly kind of what the criteria are there, and obviously the request didn't come in with this application. But since it only seems to connect to other locations that are on the same parcel in the same kind of like industrial development, a little bit to the southeast of the site, it seems like maybe in the future that's something that could be taken under consideration for whatever application comes in the future. But for now, if it's a publicly accessible alleyway, definitely anything that we can do on the graffiti prevention side would be important here. And then just a quick aside to Commissioner Ramos's question around the affordability rate. I know we can't take a look at it here, but my recollection is when we set for sale projects kind of at the low income, extremely low income range, that they had a really hard time getting financing for those properties. So it's because of the way that if you're in a low income or extremely low income category, you're not going to be able to qualify for the mortgage. And then we ended up having abandoned, or not abandoned, but empty townhouses and other similar developments in other parts of the city. So I know that that's something that was kind of at play. So obviously we're not discussing that here, but for full context and background information, it was something I think that was looked at during the AHOCO review.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. Are there any other questions or comments for staff before we open the public hearing? Great, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. The public hearing is now open. Would the applicant like to speak on the matter?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mike O'Melveny. I'm representing the Ventus Group, Vice President, and we are currently representing the owner in this endeavor. I would like to thank Fernanda and Pedro through this process. They've been great to work with. The city staff has been great to work with, and appreciate everyone's efforts to get us to this point. Just a couple of things. The owner has owned this property for over 30, 35 years. We did have 2 community meetings in relationship to announce the project and to receive their feedback. And also, I'd just like to say that we're very proud of the project and the revitalization of Harbor and participating in the Harbor specific plan. We're providing more parking than is required. We're providing more open space than that is required. And I'm very excited about that. A couple things that were brought up by some of the commissioners in regards to the southern alley. We could propose vine pockets, maybe 15 foot on center, to alleviate that aesthetic concern. I agree with you. And so if we want to provide that as a condition of approval, I think that would be good. And then even we could do some street lights at the end of those alleys, bearing light on the other southern side of that wall. There's 2 alleys that go down to the south, but at the end of each alley, we could put like a modest street light to put light on that alley. So that was one thing that came to mind. You know, with our submittal, there is a full schematic wall and fence plan and a schematic landscape plan. So the CMU wall, 6 feet, is depicted on this plan, both on the southern edge and on the eastern edge. Yeah, it's a big plan set, so it could have been overlooked. And then there are patio walls along Harbor as well as Camille. And I think that was it. I'm here to address any other questions or concerns. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the commission have any comments or questions of the applicant? Commissioner Leo?
Yeah, it's not a question. It is to confirm that you're okay with vine pockets. You said on the southern portion, is that what you?
Yeah.
Say it for the record, because we're probably going to add it to the motion. So
Yeah.
go ahead, and then the lighting piece, talk both of them so we understand
And
completely.
my landscape architect is here. He might be able to speak.
He's coming right now.
More eloquently about the matter, but yes, I think we would put a condition to that. Go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Peter Duarte. I'm the landscape architect with Studio Pad Landscape Architecture. In a lot of these cases, we'll propose a voided cell block every 15 feet on center. So that way the homeowner association landscape will have a vine that grows out to cover the wall. And we typically plant about 15 feet on center. That way the maintenance is easily distinguished, and we don't have to worry about the irrigation coming outside of the alley and getting damaged. So that'll all be done internally, but we just do these pockets maybe 6 inches above the ground. Vines grow, and it's probably one of the best anti-graffiti measures that we could do.
Okay, we'll take that, thank you. And the other one was about lighting. Go ahead.
Yes, also in the package, like Mr. Mulvaney commented to, we have a lighting plan that's there as well. So it shows some pole lights around the parking areas. So we could also add a pole light at each end of the alley, and that'll probably give a little bit of off light into that alley, the adjacent alley. We also have some tree up lights along that edge, which will give a little bit more of that lighting effect as well. We just got to be cautious because we get conditioned to not have a lot of light spill.
Understood, no, understood.
Offside your property, so it's going to have to be one of those
Okay,
touchy points, but we can probably have that ability to add some of that lighting.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla.
Yeah, no, just wondering, and again, this is maybe more just theoretical, and especially at this point in the process, but is there anything that would have made the kind of internal circulation pattern a little bit easier for you all to deal with? Again, I'm just looking for maximum utilization of space, if there were any regulations on our part, or if there were specific requirements coming in from fire, from other agencies, were there, in your opinion, opportunities maybe to have some flexibility there that wasn't necessarily allowed in this process? And it's hard to put you on the spot for this, but I always like kind of at least asking the question to say, hey, what is it that we can do better from a regulatory perspective?
I think kind of what the setbacks and drive aisle widths and fire really drives a lot of that. So it's really not even the city, but I think they're all, I would say, market conditions, and I don't think anything kind of hamstrung the development. We are achieving a fairly efficient density here, I believe, with the footages that we are providing. But yeah, nothing on the city's standpoint, as far as from what I see, kind of hamstrings the development.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. Commissioner Pham?
Yes. Were there any consideration to provide a secondary access via the alleyway into the property, or was it the alley was not accessible?
I don't think we ever looked at that. I might have to lean on my civil or my architect on that. They might have looked at it before, but I don't think we ever looked at that, and we might have even had some staff direction not to do it.
I appreciate your willingness to landscape the perimeter wall as well as site lighting. And I would like to say this lot has been underutilized for some time now, so to see it develop with townhouses to kind of beautify Harbor, I think it's a very great project. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pham. Commissioner Wu, any questions or comments for the applicant? Thank you. I have one. Thank you for being willing to add additional lighting to help with the alleyway. So I heard that you all could add light poles at the ends of the alley. I'm wondering if there's ever a practice of also adding a light pole at the center of the alley. So it's 3 poles instead of 2 across the alleyway.
Where on the site plan would that be? On the center of the alley?
So I wasn't thinking of the site plan specifically, but just from hearing.
Behind the park there? Right at the southern end? Right here at the park? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like in the middle, just
Yeah.
wondering if that,
So a total of 3?
yes, I'm wondering if that is something that would be feasible or something you all think would make sense.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. So we would have a street light pole at the end of both alleys at the south, as well as the southern end of that park.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments for the applicant? Go ahead, Commissioner Pham.
My recommendation, because you have a publicly accessible trash enclosure, I think that given its proximity to Harbor Boulevard and high public traffic, that I know that it's common for a lot of projects to use a code access for the residents to access the trash enclosures, but we've seen quite a bit of dumping. It's not the property's responsibility, but I think that maybe a different type of access method would prevent codes from just leaking from friends to friends, and then your residents would kind of be burdened with overflowed trash enclosures when there's quite a bit of residents on site. So that would be my recommendation, not a condition, but to kind of explore other methods of access apart from code access.
Thank you for the recommendation. Yes, we'll definitely take that under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments from the commission, Recording Secretary, have we received any written communication, or is there a member of the public that would like to comment on this item?
Chair, we have received a total of 3 emails in the form of public comments for this item before the 3:30 p.m. deadline, which has been distributed to the commission and posted online. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we have 1 speaker via Zoom.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Richie Madison. I live in the townhomes across the street from this development, so very welcoming to you all to coming to the neighborhood. I did want to ask some questions. I don't know that it's necessarily directed towards the developer, but this is a pretty complicated, uncontrolled intersection. There are continuous U-turns from both directions, as well as people coming out of Camille and the mobile home development. In addition to pedestrians that are illegally crossing the street, kind of parallel in front of the property as it stands right now. Since all of those people are going to be directed to the intersection at Camille and Harbor now, I'm wondering if there's any provisions or conversations about having some sort of a crosswalk there or a more controlled environment, because it's going to be a lot more complicated.
Thank you. That was the only speaker.
Chair, we don't have any more speakers. The only one.
Great, thank you. Are there any last questions or comments that any commissioners want to make of the applicant before I close the public hearing? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Now's the time for commission discussion before taking a motion on this matter, if there is any. Commissioner Escamilla?
Yeah, Public Works question now. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that yeah, the public commenter was absolutely right, and I guess just more holistically, do we have any sort of plans or efforts to at least kind of figure out where these potential sites for crosswalk upgrades, for controlled lights and intersections, like does this Camille area now kind of warrant that type of review? And like, are there certain thresholds that we're looking at? Again, because the thing that I think that Harbor does really well is that we have this area where we're building and we're allowing new housing, and it's a really great environment on either side of it, but then stitching together the two sides of Harbor is kind of where the challenge is. So I'm just wondering kind of what those thresholds are, if we looked at that for this particular project, or if that's something in the future that we will be looking at as we kind of develop this Harbor-specific plan more holistically.
Very good questions, and astute question from the public as well as the commission. Yes, so actually, it turns out that I checked with the traffic team, and they did have a traffic warrant analysis done for the intersection of Camille and Harbor. And in fact, a new traffic signal is warranted at that location. Now, fair share wise, they pay their percentage. So there's a fair share that they need to contribute for that. So a very good comment. And then at that traffic signal, there would be street safety lighting as well as the red, yellow, green lights, right? And then there would also be a marked crosswalk, presumably, and curb ramps for accessibility as well.
Okay, and I guess for members of the general public, is there then a internal public works list of like warranted upgrades that we're looking at now? This is one project that will now then be internally looking for funding and for other funding sources potentially.
So, right, it would need to be funded. And so if this fair share is with only 30 townhomes isn't a lot, yeah, so unless they're eager to build it on their own because they want to do that, there would have to be additional funding sources for a traffic signal there. And in addition to that, the city typically does signal priority studies, and we'll have a list, right? And so let's say there's one near a school, they can get a grant maybe for that, or active transportation that might be harder to get one at a location like this. So it could take years sometimes to get traffic signals built. And so that is something that there's a fair share obligation on the part of whatever this development is contributing to the need for a traffic signal, but it's probably not going to cover the entire cost.
And I guess also then just philosophically, because there is like that large gap in distance between crosswalks, are we essentially kind of moving towards figuring out where those, I'd say like 2,000-foot gaps are at this point? And, I guess is that also then included in the prioritization kind of criteria?
It can be. For example, let's say you have 500 feet apart, you have two intersections that meet the traffic signal warrants. They can meet the warrants, but that doesn't mean that you would install them both because they're so close together. So maybe one is closer to a school, you can get funding for that, and so you install that one first. And then the need for the other one may kind of go away, even if it meets a warrant, does not necessarily mean that it would be recommended to install.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
I have an additional question for Public Works. Sorry. So thank you for the explanation, and part of what I'm hearing is that, well, there is a need for it. We don't know how quickly it will come because funding is needed to have this made possible. So is there, knowing that it is already being used to cross the street in a very unsafe way, are there any more affordable actions that can be taken more immediately?
There potentially are, but on a major arterial like this, let's say it was Camille Street and it met a signal warrant, you could put in an always stop controlled intersection, right? But putting a stop controlled on a Harbor would not make a lot of sense. I also wouldn't as a licensed civil and traffic engineer, I would not probably recommend an RRFB retroreflective flashing beacon because it's such a wide street and an arterial that's going to have a lot of traffic, a lot of lanes. I don't know that I want to suggest to the public that they have that level of protection. Sometimes having the public actually not necessarily feel as protected can be in their interest because they don't presume a level of protection. So it's sometimes actually better having a traffic signal would be ideal, but suggesting with some kind of yellow warning light, a situation that may not be the case. I at this point, not doing a study, I wouldn't recommend it on a very wide street like that.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate. Are there any other questions or comments for staff at this time? Seeing none, is there a motion on this matter?
I'd like to move the motion.
Commissioner Wu, is there a second?
I'll second it if you want to add what the applicant has agreed to do, which are the vine pockets and lights at either end. I guess, do we need the flexibility, and this is to Chairwoman Ramos's comments about, do we need to give staff the flexibility to figure out the lighting? The lighting at either end is one thing, but the lighting in the middle, we've got apartments right next to it. We need to give staff and the applicants some flexibility as to how you light that middle section so as not to bother the apartments behind it. So I'd like to, I don't know what language the attorney would suggest. So we give you guys the flexibility and the applicant. Obviously, we understand 2 lights at the end. There was discussion about lights in the middle, but I don't want it to reflect in, because there's a lot of light you got to deal with. And you understand what I'm saying? That, like, whatever that would be, that language would be, give
Yes.
you and the applicant the flexibility to do that.
Yes, Commissioner Leo, we would benefit from having that flexibility to figure out the best placement of those lights on that southerly property line with the applicant, and also together with our police department, they would also be looking at the light plan for this
Okay.
project. And then in addition to that item, if the commission does move forward with making the amendment related to lighting and the vine pockets, that both those conditions be tied to the development itself and not be tied to the HOA requiring to implement
Okay.
or install these after the fact.
That's fine.
Thank you. Commissioner Wu, as the maker of the motion, do you accept Commissioner Leo's friendly
So
amendments?
adopt a resolution approving tentative track map number 2025-07, county map number 19295 as condition, which includes putting the vines on the wall, the lighting, and the looking at the traffic. And you could put it in your words.
Staff, was that sufficient direction in the motion, or do you need more?
I think we're good with the 2. However, Commissioner Wu, you added looking at the traffic issue. If you can elaborate on what the traffic issue was that you're speaking about, and then we can
I
make sure
think
that that's
Commissioner
addressed.
Leo was just saying that as you do your evaluation for that,
No, Alan, I didn't say anything about the traffic.
I'll take that one off then.
It's just there's an alleyway and there's lighting to be discussed. I think we're all in agreement, and I think the applicant's in agreement, 2 at each end. It's this question in the middle and the apartments behind it and the lighting and the reflection and how far, but yeah.
So my motion is to approve the movement with the addition of the vines and the lighting.
We got it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion from Commissioner Wu, adding 2 additional conditions, are vine pockets and additional lighting for the alleyway. Commissioner Leo has made a
second it.
second. Thank you. With that, Secretary, can you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Escamilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Leo,
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva, Commissioner Pham,
Aye.
Commissioner Wu,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benninger, Chair Ramos.
Aye.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Oliva and Vice Chair Benninger absent.
That concludes the business calendar. Moving on to staff comments.
Thank you, Chair. We have 2 items we want to share with the commission tonight. So I just wanted to provide a quick update on the comprehensive zoning code update. So September 26th, staff held the last workshop of round 3 of engagement for the project. We do have a virtual workshop that was part of round 3 that a video recording of the workshop will be posted to the webpage. So for folks that weren't able to turn out, they can still visit the project webpage and take a look at the workshop and the information provided through it. The webpage will be updated with that video Wednesday of this week. Subsequent to that, we'll be going before the Airport Land Use Commission to present the project on November 20th. And we'll be coming back to this commission with the project February of next year. The second item I wanted to share with the commission was that 2 weeks ago at the annual State American Planning Association Conference, Santa Ana's Planning Division was honored with the Planning Agency Award of Excellence. So what that means is that the division was formally recognized by peers in the field for being a leader in the planning profession and for its continually high quality, innovative, and impactful work, its service to the community, and it has a successful track record of turning out plans that are just not plans, but that turn into tangible results that improve the quality of life for the community. So I just want to highlight that with the commission, since you all make those projects happen and are a big part of the work that we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the commission have any closing comments or questions for staff? Commissioner Escamilla.
Well, thank you, Chair. Thank you to planning staff for having me there for the conference. Went representing the County of Orange, but then also got to participate in the award ceremony, which is really great. Packed house, wonderful awards, back to back and all that. I had one, I guess, more general policy question. I'm wondering if staff might be able to take a look at. So I know it brought up like single stair reform previously. So with the passage of AB 130, all modifications, local modifications to building codes are pretty much on pause, I believe, for 5 to 6 years. So we're gonna have a little bit of a building code pause. My cursory review of that particular legislation was that it stops adding regulations, but it might not necessarily prevent the removal of regulations. And the reason why is just Culver City was the only city in California that managed to pass single stair reform prior to the passage of AB 130, so they might already have kind of like a local model to look at. But it would be something I think that might be potentially beneficial to our internal development patterns here in Santa Ana, again, because we have smaller, older lots that might be okay for a 4-story structure with a single stairwell, but our current building codes don't allow for that. So it might be an opportunity for some other additional innovation here locally, but I don't know if we can do it given AB 130. So that's really just the policy comment for the day.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. Commissioner Leo.
Is there a chance that we could get, and maybe you guys already have it, how far we are on our arena and how far the surrounding cities are on their arenas? I feel sometimes as a commissioner that the city gets slighted, not only in groups, but in the media, that we're not doing enough. And there are cities that are suing the state because they don't like their numbers. And there are communities that don't approve projects because they have low income or moderate income units in them. So what I would like you to be able to arm us with, so that we can tell others, please do your share, we're doing ours, and I think this commission has approved in plenty of units, and we're converting motels. So if there's a way you can kind of help us out, kind of like surrounding cities or other cities. I mean, if you go to South County, there's no effort whatsoever. But yet if you go to San Juan, there's great need. You go to San Clemente, there's great need. So what I would like to be able to do is to be able to relay that to other folks in the community, that Santa Ana is not sitting still. We are doing what we've been asked to do by the state. And our fellow sister cities in the county, some of them are really not doing anything. And I think to get the light off of us, there's no reason to continue to put the light on us. We're doing what we can, but there are other cities that need to move along. So if you could figure out a way to compile that list, that would be great, because that will help all of us in our discussions, because we all talk to nonprofits, we all talk to other groups. It's one way to say, look, you can't keep coming here to beat us up on things when other cities aren't doing anything, or very little. How's that?
Thank you, Commissioner. Just super high level, the city has met roughly 80% of its RENA obligations, less than halfway through the RENA cycle. We do have an APR webpage that captures each year's RENA. However, we can do some research into the surrounding cities to see what they're doing as far as meeting their numbers and then report that back to the commission.
That'd be great, because I just read Newport Beach is fighting the fact that they've approved a certain number of units, guaranteed there's no affordable units in those. And yet now they're telling the state, we've already approved X numbers, so we've met our RENA numbers. Not appropriate. So those type of discussions need to be, we need to be armed with the facts so we can tell others, hey, what else do you want us to do? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Leo. Commissioner Pham.
Yeah. Since the last project was on Harbor, I was just curious. I know that the City of Anaheim has a storefront revitalization program. And when I see new projects like this on Harbor, where it's well-designed, it's new, but we do have the rest of Harbor to kind of take a look at. You know, I think that we're focused on the residential side of things on Harbor, but to encourage more residential developers, it would make sense that the commercial parcels are somewhat revitalized as well, so that we, you know, obviously, if you're going to live somewhere, you need a place to shop that's appealing. So I'm not sure if that's something that the city has that I'm not aware of, but I think that Anaheim's initiative for the revitalization fund for their storefront is something that's worth looking at. And congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pham. Commissioner Wu.
There's not a problem, but I was wondering, in our planning process and in administrating the planning division, I want to emphasize the role that neighborhood preservation and integrity plays in terms of keeping up housing values and neighborhoods that are safe and neighborhoods that work together to continue building a healthy community. And I hope that we're not diminishing the resources for that. I know some of that money for neighborhood preservation came from CDBG funds and other federal sources, which may not be as much available. But the city has found ways to assist homeowners in terms of accessing resources. For instance, I did not know until I went to the library opening at Delhi that there's a lending library there, a lending library or lending tools. You know, you could check out tools, or was it at another library? But anyway, you could check out a tree trimmer and you could trim your trees and stuff like that, or a ladder and things. So that's useful to know. That I hope that's communicated to the neighborhood associations so that they could continue keeping up their neighborhoods and things like that. And that's not to say that we're not, you know, and it's not to say that residents are not active. I'm just saying that that's a very important role that I hope we don't diminish resources for the neighborhood improvement division or unit.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. I just want to say also congratulations, staff, commissioners, and also our community. I think Santa Ana is great because we have a very actively engaged community. So thank you to anyone that's watching. And then also just wanted to give a quick reminder that we do have an election on Tuesday, November 4th. In California, we get to vote on Prop 50. Our city council provided direction to staff to come back with a resolution endorsing Prop 50. So just a reminder, there's an election. Everybody received their ballots. Please make sure to participate and vote. So thank you. With that.
Madam Chair, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. You're a little too quick for me in staff comments. If I may.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I have one comment that I'd like to add. I wanted to let the commission know and ask that you help me congratulate Ricardo Soto on his well-deserved promotion to permanent planning manager. He's been acting planning manager for the last 6-7 years. So thank you.
Thank you, Pedro, for giving Ricardo his flowers. Congratulations, Ricardo. So with that, our meeting is adjourned, and the next regular meeting is scheduled for October 27th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.